Go ahead.
Now we're recording. So the concept of health and wellness, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's kind of like it all goes together. And what I've learned over the years by looking and evolving my own wellness and learning about things long before we had technic technological things. We had books we read on health and good food and all of these wonderful things. And my mother she was the sweetest person on the planet and could cook like, oh, but always looked at good food and we grew our own food. And so I've evolved that over the years and with my family and everyone. And I can see when something comes up in the body, find out what it is. And then there'll be something that comes forth, that always comes forth, a solution always comes forth. In this case, with this situation, is the patches. And I've looked at so many things over the years and done so many things. And what I've learned and understand really well with these patches and the stem cells and how they're waking up. And I love that concept of wellness, knowing that it's waking up. It's me waking up, not somebody else, not something else. So I really like that you present that in your talks. It's wonderful. So anyway, that's my take.
So you know what? That's very true what you're saying about how when you have a problem that's coming up, especially when it comes to, this is true in all areas of our life, but let's, hone in on the health and wellness, which affects everything that we do, right? So, but
Yes.
we have a health challenge that comes up, we do have to pay attention. And with every problem, if we pay attention to what that problem is that's coming up and recognize that there is a solution, a problem never comes by itself.
Right.
One of the laws of this plane of existence that we're in is that, if there's an up, there's a down. If there's a right, there's a left. If there's a thin, there's a fat. There's, white, there's black. There's day, there's night. There's always it never just comes one-sided. There's always both. It's always a both.
Right.
So a problem comes with a solution. There's always, whatever problem we have that we're facing with, there's always a solution. Every problem comes with its solution. The thing is, are you looking for it? Are you aware of it? And in your case, you were aware that it's like, okay, you've got the presentation of these issues going on, and you know that there's a solution. You know that our bodies, nothing on the planet is static.
Right.
Even rocks and minerals that appear to be solid, you under an electron microscope, we see that there's a lot of space and that they're actually conscious, crystals like we talked about the other day. Crystals actually are alive and they have consciousness, and rocks and minerals can grow, albeit we don't witness it with the naked eye. We don't see them growing, but they can grow and they can also shrink, And so whatever problem we have, it comes paired with a solution. The thing is, are you willing to look for it? Or are you at a point in life where you're like, you know what? Okay, this is going to take me. I got to die of something. This is going to be it. And if that's what you believe, then that's what is so, because you're not open and receptive and looking to allow that solution to come in. And for yourself and for myself, even though I was told that I would have brain damage for the rest of my life, well, obviously, based on the information that those experts had, and I have a great deal of love and admiration and respect for not just doctors, but scientists and clinicians and holistic care practitioners. And just like everything else, you have good mechanics.
Yes.
You have not so good mechanics. Not all mechanics are created equally. Surgeons are mechanics. They're the mechanics of the body. Just like a mechanic will do an oil, lube, and filter, you will have a cardiologist who's a surgeon who will go in and he'll do Roto-Rooter in your heart. And if you have clogged arteries, he will Roto-Rooter that out. Or if you have an electrical malfunction, just like you can have an electrical malfunction of your car, of your alternator, so your car won't turn on. You got an electrical malfunction of the heart. Maybe the plumbing is all fine. Everything is clear. No occlusions, no backages, no stoppages. But, and the blood flow can get to where it needs to go, but you have you have a short circuit in the electrical, wiring of the heart. Well, guess what? A cardiologist can go in there and he can make those fine-tuned adjustments so that the electricity is flowing. Electricity is just packets of light. It's just a light wave that's in it. When you have an interruption in the light wave, then you have that and then you have that weird, beating of your heart where you feel like you have a flopping fish in your heart, or some people describe it as a flopping fish. Some people feel where it just feels like they've got something like vibrating and wiggling instead of the heart beating normal. There's different ways to language and describe it, but it's not beating normal.
Right.
So a cardiologist who's a surgeon, he can go in there and just like the mechanic, he's the mechanic of the body. Brain surgeon, the same thing. Dr. Jack Kruse, he's the mechanic that specializes on the brain, the neck, the spine. He can go in there and mechanically fix whatever it is that's not right or whatever's been damaged by an accident. Dr. Jack talks about how he puts a lot of, brains, necks, and spines together from accidents that happen between 2 and 4 in the morning. Those don't happen at 3 or 4. Usually they don't happen at 3, 4 in the afternoon. Usually people are out late at night, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3 in the morning. They get into these terrible wrecks, and he's the mechanic, thank goodness, that gets to put them back together again so that they can walk and talk again. And so there are an infinite, we live in a plane of existence where we have a limitless, infinite number of possibilities. Some of the people who first started on the patches, let's say 4 years ago, when the mother cell activation patch came on board, they were looking, maybe they had been told, whatever it is that you have, you're in your last stages. You'll never be able to come back from this. We've done everything that modern science can do for you. You just, get your affairs in order. And for those who say, no, this can't be the end of the line, I still feel like I have a lot of life to live. I'm done with all this pain and all this, everything that I've been going through, but there still has to be something out there. And for those who are still open and receptive, like Marcy Preble, she's our senior presidential director. She looks like a college co-ed now. But when she started, and she's in her early 50s, and when she started, she looked like a 60-plus-year-old, but she had stage 3 metastasized breast cancer. It was her 3rd time battling breast cancer. The doctors told her, your body's not responding to chemo, not responding to radiation, not responding to anything that we're doing. You need to get your affairs in order. This 3rd time, it's going to take you. And she's like, no. I have 3 boys that still need me. She's like, no, this can't be. And that's when this popped into her life. And her doctor told her, Dr. Rhonda said, you might want to try these stem cell activation patches. I think that you would benefit a great deal. You have everything to gain and nothing to lose. And she's like immediately on it. And oh my goodness, I think you've seen the picture of her before and afters, haven't you? She is like radically different. I will show just for posterity. I'll pull her up, which
good idea.
Yeah, if you decide to get on Telegram on your desktop, know that you can do that. Where is my presentation? No, I don't need my presentation. What I need is Telegram. Let me see if I can find Telegram. Oh, that's because I have this covering it. That's why it's not showing. Now I'll be able to find it. When I go to search, now I can find Telegram. Here we go. So in here, I can find picture. Wow, look at how different this gal looks. This was just 6 months of patching.
Wow, my goodness.
Look at her eyelids.
Yeah. Oh,
wow.
yeah.
She looks so much, 6 months. Wow. And this girl, look at her hair. Look at how much thinner it was, and look at how much I experienced that too. Wow. And look at her too. Oh my goodness, how refreshing.
Oh my goodness.
She lost a little weight. She lost a little inflammation. And wow.
Beautiful.
Here's somebody, her Layla Rodriguez. She had a horrific car. Oh, that's right. She was burned over the majority of her body like 20 something years ago, 40 years ago.
Oh my.
Left side is before she wore the patches, and now the right side is 6 weeks later. Look at the
Oh
scars from
my
40-year-old
word.
scars. And this is from a burn. She had burns through the majority of her body. Look at how much better that is.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
Here's somebody who is apparently this is the video. Let me see if I can find Marcy's because I want to show you Marcy's picture because it's a dramatic change. She looks now like she could be the daughter of the person that first started on the patches. Where is Marcy? This is Marcy. So when Marcy started in 2019, actually, there's a picture. This one's 3 years apart because she's been on the patches. She's on her 4th year now. But when she first started, this is what she looked like.
Oh, right. Yeah,
And this is what she looks like now. This looks like this is the mother and this is the daughter. This is the same person.
that's incredible.
And
Absolutely incredible.
I have a picture of her where it's showing the first couple months and her inflammation went way down in the first 60 days and she was feeling much better. Yeah, that's a year by year. How far back do I have to go to find that is the question. There's some people with some really horrible things that have happened to them that
Oh
they've
my.
been able to, which you'll see a lot of them here in this group. Yeah, that's from the 3 years. This girl also had stage 3 breast cancer. I will find it. I will find it. So this is 30, 60, and 90 days. So at 30 days, this is what she looked like. She started on the patches. 60 days later, look at her.
Amazing.
90 days later. And then I have a picture of her, Dr. Stacy, and I. So for people who are wondering, it's like, okay. And these are not touched, or these are just like raw photos that I have in my phone. So I wasn't planning on showing these, but let me see if I can find something quick here because we were all together February. We were at the Stem Cell Leadership that Dr. Stacy did in February. And so I have pictures of all 3 of us. See if I can find the one where all 3 of us are together. Recent. So we are in April, so it's not March. February. Here we go. I go too far down. Where's the date? Oh, I went way too far back. Okay, here we go. Now I'm getting closer. This is when I first arrived to Florida. So this is a picture of Dr. Stacy where you've seen what she looked like, but you can see, I mean, she looks like she's 25 years old and she's 50.
Oh yes. Beautiful. Yeah.
Here, here's another gal, Laura. Well, let me see. I mean, if I see if I can find the picture with Marcy and I and Dr. I think there's a picture of all 3 of us together. Is that it? April. That's April Stewart Vaughn. This is the gal who had lupus Lyme. She had lupus, Lyme, rheumatoid arthritis, and a long haulers COVID. She's totally fine now. She's the one with the 2 kids that had spherocytosis, and now Grace and Jake don't have spherocytosis anymore. But
Oh my goodness.
she's totally fine. And she's in her 50s also.
Wow.
Incredible. Let me see if I can find. Oh, here it is. So here you can see Dr. Stacy Marcy and myself. This is in Orlando, Florida. But see,
Oh
that's,
my goodness. Doesn't look
yeah.
like the same person.
Yeah. So that's this. This here is Marcy, and this is
Uh-huh.
here in February. This is her right there. And
Yeah.
this is Dr. Stacy. I don't know why it's not coming out clearer, but there's Dr. Stacy. But Dr. Stacy does not look like a 50-year-old woman.
No, she looks like a teenager.
Yeah, and Marcy
Yeah.
does not look like a 50, she's like 50
No,
something, does not look like she's 50 something
no.
either. And but that's after Marcy's been wearing the patches for 4 years and Dr. Stacy 2.5.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So it's amazing. I should say this in my favorites so I don't have to waste time looking for it like I did before. Yeah, there's so many. This girl, she had a horrible accident. She had two near-death experiences. I have it on my YouTube channel. So incredible. Annie DeCoker. This girl, I mean, she doesn't look like she's ever had anything wrong.
No.
She regenerated everything. She had Johnson syndrome, where her body got up to 107, 108 degrees, which is not supposed to be
Oh
survivable.
my. Oh,
Everything inside of her body burned. Her eyeballs burned. Her eyeballs grew back. Her eyeballs burned. All of her hair on her head, her eyebrows, her eyelashes, all of it fell out. Um, she had like second and third degrees burns inside and outside of her body from that experience. And then the patches brought her back. And then about 2 years later, she's a professional skydiver, and they do formations in the sky, daytime and nighttime. And there was a weird shift in atmospheric pressure. And it was one of those weird, freaky things where all of a sudden the atmospheric pressure changed as they were landing. And instead of
oh,
her landing like normal, she got slammed into the ground.
oh,
She broke everything.
oh,
Both of her arms, both of her legs, both of her hips, both of her feet. She broke
oh,
everything. It's like her body just broke. I'm like,
wow.
I'm like, oh my gosh, it's not bad enough. Like you listen to if you'd like, I'll send it to you, or you can go to YouTube, you can find it. But oh my gosh, when you hear her story, it's so gut-wrenching to hear how horrific it was, because she obviously lost her sight. It was horrible. And then a couple years later to then have this weird freakish accident where everything
Oh,
breaks.
that's incredible.
Then she was on the patches, and then she was able to turn around. She's totally fine, completely healed from all of that, back to skydiving. And her like right after she had healed from, like, she still had, the last time I saw her, which was last October, she still had a few of the scars, but barely noticeable. Like I couldn't see them until she pointed them out from that Johnson syndrome that she had. But oh my gosh, breaking all of those bones was like absolutely insane. And she's come back around, and her hair is soft and silky. She's grown back like for a long time, she didn't have eyelashes. She's got eyelashes now, eyebrows. Um, and she's completely restored from all of that. And what a harrowing experience.
Oh my word. That's beyond
And she's
unreal.
normal. Look at her. She's totally normal,
Yeah.
beautiful, totally fine. You would never think that someone could survive
Oh,
either,
absolutely. Yeah.
survive both. Incredible, incredible. Yeah. So we don't know what we don't know until we know it. And I think that as we share this message, because I'd like to share this on my YouTube channel and let people know whatever it is that they're going through, no matter how horrific, I got to tell you, where I'm sitting right now and during this broadcast, as I reflect back to all the things that I've been exposed to over my lifetime and things that I've witnessed, um,
Yeah. Yeah.
are some bizarre things that happen to people. No question about it. Just it boggles the mind that some of these freak things can happen, and they do. And then there's these bizarre, weird, undiagnosed mystery conditions, syndrome, diseases that leave the medical establishment where, like, it's like, we know that you're presenting all these problems, all these symptoms, and we know that there's something like life-threatening and seriously wrong, but we don't know what it is. And we don't even know how to treat it. Like when my son got Guillain-Barré, they were operating blind. The first thing they did was a brain scan. They wanted to make sure he didn't have a brain tumor. Okay. PET scan, MRI, the full works, but it took 5.5 weeks in
Wow.
intensive care for him to be diagnosed. And it was process of elimination. They did spinal taps. They test after test. He had about 16, 17 pediatric neurologists, the best from the best, not just pediatric neurologists that were from Children's Hospital of Orange County, but they pulled pediatric neurologists from UCI Medical Center and from Long Beach Miller's Children's Hospital, and they brought him to Chalk to assess him because what he had was so bizarre and so rare. And
My goodness.
and in that first week, he almost died. You know, he was a 79-pound kid. He dropped to 59 pounds because it literally was eating him. Not only was it eating his nerves, but it was also eating the muscles. So it got down to the bones, right? And so he lost all this muscle mass and he was then paralyzed from the neck down. They didn't really know. It's kind of hard to treat someone when you don't know what you're dealing with.
Right.
Much,
Yes.
kudos to them that team. Dr. Goodman was the head of pediatrics at the time. I don't know if he still is. I'll have to look him up. But I'll never forget that, they have to treat as if the word, and that's a rule of thumb in emergency medicine. You always treat as if the worst possible thing is going to happen because you want to make sure that the person stays alive, and you want to make sure that they don't pass. You don't want to have them pass and have to try to bring them back.
Right.
Want to keep them alive and keep them from flatlining and being, from being technically dead, right? And bringing them back from death. And so I remember it was a process of elimination, and they're like, okay, no, he doesn't have encephalitis, he doesn't have meningitis, he doesn't have myasthenia gravis, he doesn't have MS. MS doesn't usually hit men,
No.
but and even less so kids, but again, and so it's like this process of elimination because he clearly has a neurological presentation, but they don't know if it's viral, bacterial, they don't really know what it is that's going on. They don't know anything until, just what the presenting problems, which in his case was paralysis from the neck down, which is kind of severe to go from doing black diamond runs on ski slopes, because you're a skier, so the athleticism that it takes to, hit those
Absolutely.
down a black diamond run, to go
Yeah.
from that to you get home and within 48 hours you can barely walk, to another, or 24 hours you can barely walk, and then another 24 hours you're actually paralyzed from the neck down. Something is not right, and it's rapidly progressing to impair the gross motor system and the fine motor system, which shows you a very aggressive progression. And
Oh,
you don't,
yeah.
as someone who is diagnosing something like that in an emergency room, or if you're out in the field, working for a private ambulance company, you're like, okay, well, is it going to hit their breathing? Is it going to hit their heart? Is it going to hit their brain? We don't know. We have to assume that that's the case. And so
Yes.
in order to treat him, they have to assume that he's going to go into respiratory arrest, cardiac arrest, that you're going to flatline. So there are things that, as we got a little bit of more information, and then when they confirmed that it was Guillain-Barré in the fifth, that's 5.5 weeks. Some people pass in the first few days of Guillain-Barré because they go into respiratory arrest. It's
Oh,
not
my.
time, and so they can't bring them back. But for those who are lucky that the doctors that are actually, and the nurses that are on hand, if they have any kind of background in terms of those type of neurological presentations, they catch it in time, and then they can, at the very least, slow it down, hopefully stop it, because in a perfect world, you want to stop it and then you want to reverse it. So with my son, what they did was they said, okay, well, we think it might be the immune system turning on itself, but we don't, again, process of elimination. So as they ruled out things, and they're like, okay, wow, some of his test results were kind of like very concerning, but not clear to diagnose anything. And so they said, okay, we got to assume that his breathing is going to be compromised because your diaphragm is all nerves. So if it's affecting you where you're paralyzed with gross and fine motor skills, it's just a matter of time between your diaphragm, your lungs, your heart, and your brain are going to go, right? It's going to be in that order because it looks like it's a progressing upward.
Yeah.
So then they just said, okay, well, we gotta we're gonna put blood plasma into him. We're gonna use the stem cells of donors. We're gonna take the blood of donors. We're gonna centrifuge that, pull out the plasma. In the plasma is where we can find the stem cells of those 2,000 donors. We're gonna re-inject it in the body, and we don't know if this is gonna work. We hope that one of two things will happen. One, that because he has the factors of other people's immune system coming into his immune system, that his immune system will be diluted so that that progression of the deterioration of his body will lessen because you have this diluting effect, or that his immune system will see other immune system factors in and it will stop attacking his immune system and will attack those immune systems. You're like, but we really don't know because we haven't been able to scientifically prove one or the other. So it's a gamble, but it's the best option we have at this time. And then because he was losing so much weight so quickly, and he was already a thin, he's all solid muscle because he was a gymnast and a swimmer. And, kids at 11 years old, they're all solid muscle, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just disappearing. So they're like, okay, he can't afford to lose any other weight. It's like he's already skin and bones. So then they put fat lipids into his IV to give him fats so that he would stop losing weight and that he would start gaining weight. Well, he didn't gain any weight, but he stopped losing weight at least.
Oh, good.
So at least that helped in that regard.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay. So 11 weeks, we spent. And the thing is, how many people out there, I've heard of so many people since then that have had mystery conditions. I just heard of somebody a few days ago who had 4 things that they were diagnosed with all at the same time.
That's incredible.
I'm like, wow, you're lucky that they were able to distinguish that they were, in fact, 4 separate things that were in the body at the same time. Sometimes that's not as easy, that's easier said than done. So at least you knew what those 4 things were. They said that they were unrelated. I never believe that they're unrelated. It's all one body. Everything is connected. Everything is related. So even if they tell you it's not related, that's not true. Everything is related because the common denominator, you're the host to everything that's going on, and you obviously have some dysregulation that's presenting. And what happens to fit neatly in 4 different categories just so happens, right? So
yeah, I agree.
So absolutely. We can unring the bell of damage. The thing is, again, there's people out there who are looking for solutions, and there are solutions out there. You just have to be open and receptive and then educate yourself. And there are things that we used to do that were okay in our younger years. You can get away with a lot more when you're young. But if you have, like April's 2 kids, Jake and Grace, they couldn't really get away with anything, even though they were young, because they were born with spirocytosis. So it's talking about identifying yourself with a condition. They were born at birth. They were diagnosed both with spirocytosis, spent every single month of their entire 21 and 25 years in the hospital. Something would happen that they would end up in the hospital because of the spirocytosis. Talking about identifying you as a person and a condition at the same time. So they've never known their lives to not have spirocytosis until they got started on these patches. And then all the symptoms, all the pains, all the dysregulation, all the sensitivity started to disappear within just 2 or 3 months of them being on the patches, to where after the 2nd month on the patches, they've never been back in the hospital again. They're completely fine. Like, what a life. Now they have, they'll probably have a long and healthy life because their bodies are behaving the way a young body should be, not burdened with all these horrible symptoms and all these restrictions of all these things. They had a long list of things that they couldn't do because of the spirocytosis. For somebody else, it might be diabetes. For somebody else, it could be just about any condition you can think of. Our patches, of course, we don't make medical claims, but the patches are general wellness products. So they're going to unring the bell of damage or trauma or toxification by whatever means. And I think that is such an exciting thing to be able to share with people.
Oh, it's very wonderful. Yes, I totally agree. and then beginning to understand what I like in really applying and understanding the value of our stem cells and what they are and what that means and how this is unfolding. And I'm really thrilled with this whole concept that has come forth with these patches. And now it's like I've always felt to ask questions. You know, if I went to I was a caregiver and took people to doctors and whatnot, I asked the question. I wanted to know what they were thinking because then I could make decisions and help make decisions. So with the patches and with this coming forth like this, and with this call and you sharing all of your background, it's been excellent, been wonderful, and sharing the what other people have gone through. So it's a learning, and I'm really appreciating what I'm learning.
Yeah,
and
we're all learning every day,
yeah,
and that's one of the things that I think the biggest I'm lucky that I've always had a natural hunger for learning. And I know not everybody is that way, but I think one of the common denominators I see with people who tend to thrive and tend to overall just do well is that they are eager to learn new things, to implement new things. They're willing to feed their brain. I had a mentor years ago who when I was straight out of college, he used to say, you know what? People tend to spend, hundreds of dollars a year on toilet paper, you know, and, they graduate from high school or college and then they never pick up another book. They figured, nope, I had to read all these books when I was in high school and college. I graduated, got my degree. I don't need to read another book for the rest of my life. And it's like, you know what? You might want to analyze which end of the body is more important, the bottom end or the top end. Really?
yes,
You're going to spend more money on your bottom than you're spending on your brain? You might want to reconsider that and maybe spend at least as much as you do on toilet paper as you do in your brain. Because once you learn something, that is with you for life. No one can take that away from you. And
right.
you can actually use that to better yourself. So you might want to reconsider which end is more important. And
I love that.
I go, you know what? Brian is so on the money when it comes to that. Yeah, you want to reconsider which end is more important because we will all agree that it's important to buy toilet paper and to use that for your bottom end, however many times a day you need to use that. But how often people don't read any books. And
Right.
we live in a day and age where we get both and. So for people who maybe they can't read because they're blind, or maybe they can't read because their eyes get too fatigued, you know what? There's audiobooks now. You can listen to
Yes.
a video of someone reading a book, which there's plenty of on YouTube, or you can listen to Audible or iTunes where you just listen to the audiobook version and it's the entire book. You can get it through Amazon, you can get it through SoundCloud, Audible, you name it. The point is, you can still get that information and you can listen to it if you don't want to physically read it.
Right. Right.
And, people who are dyslexic, it's harder for them to read, no question.
Yes, it is.
You
Uh-huh.
can listen.
And
Although
listen.
people don't know that there's visual dyslexia and there's auditory dyslexia too. They don't
Yep.
call it, there's a different name for it, but it's an auditory processing disorder where it jumbles the words, where people will reverse the words, even though they're hearing it in the right order.
Yep.
The way their
Yeah.
ear interprets it, it will switch it around as they're hearing it, which is like a visual dyslexia.
Exactly.
Someone
Yeah.
might want to read instead of listen. But the bottom line is it's true. It's like we have so many options available. I have done read, review, and applies on my YouTube channel before, and I'm thinking about doing this book called it's called the Mitochondria Manifesto. I'm going to show it to you. There's a few books that I'd like to kind of take apart and share with our viewers here, but this one's called the Mitochondria Manifesto.
Oh,
And
right.
one of the gals in my group, my directors, her name is Lisa Pettit. She's the one who first brought my attention to it. And I thought, this sounds like a Jack Kruse, Dr. Jack Kruse book as soon as I heard it. I'm going to share with you what the contents are, and then maybe I'll start to read, review, and apply, show you some of the action steps that you can take from the information that we're learning and reading here. But in part 1, it says, no one knows wellness and illness like a mitochondria. Now, for those of you who don't know what mitochondria are the little organs inside each cell that's responsible for processing energy, known as ATP. So the next part, in just part 1, it's biophysics. It says, disconnecting from nature and plugging into the matrix. Ooh, that sounds juicy. Let's see, seasonal cycles 3. Number 4, what runs our biological programming? 5, mitochondria, where health or sickness begins. 6, redox signaling, inflammation and redox potential. 7, earthing. 8, water's most important functions. 9, magnetism. Ooh, that's going to be a juicy chapter.
Yeah.
The next one is 10, blood flow, paramagnetism, and DHA. Oh my gosh. So that's just part 1 that I just shared with you guys. I think that would be juicy content for us to explore and check out. Part 2, energy mismanagement causes weight gain. Absolutely. Part 3, the electromagnetic spectrum. Part 4, biophysics in action. And that makes up the 299 pages of this book. So the author of this book is R.D. Lee. I do not know him. Randy, the Mito Man. So I will definitely how nature nurtures the body and technology torments it.
Oh, fabulous. That's a good one.
Technology torments it. It's so fascinating because I just did a YouTube video with Ann Bandini, who is one of my directors, and she has a YouTube channel. And we were talking about the silent thief in our midst, which you're very well aware of because you're on most of my broadcasts. We talk about these LED lights and the blue light, right? So I think we'll have to dive into this and take advantage, and we'll have to set up a time that we do this separate from our info Q&As. But I think this would be a nice juice, like a nice juicy thing to sink our teeth into.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, I love that.
Learn a few things. So
yeah, we'll learn something new.
Okay, so it's almost 3 o'clock. So we're going to make this a wrap. I'm going to share this on our YouTube channel for people who are watching this on the replay, because I don't have this live on YouTube right now, but for those who are watching this on the replay, if you would like to ask me questions, if you want to learn more, you of course can always circle back here for the free content on the YouTube channel. For people who would like to actually have a little bit more interaction, you can either put comments in the YouTube video below, or you can find me on Telegram. There's a Telegram group that is just for everyone who is not on the patches yet. You can join there to ask whatever questions. We're here to help and support you. For those of you, once you get on the patches, we have a private group where everyone is on the patches. So any questions, medical, anything having to do with your wellness, patch placement, acupuncture points, detox baths, et cetera, it's a very supportive group to help you move forward in your health journey. And you can always ask for the 2 Get Started text. If Carol has sent you, you can get in touch with Carol through this YouTube channel and you can find Carol. Carol, do you want to give your email in case people want to reach out to you?
My email address, I'll say it and then I'll spell it, is saymystic1@yahoo.com. And that's S as in Seattle, A-Y, M as in Mary, Y, S is Seattle, T is in Tom, I-C with the numeral 1 at Yahoo.
At yahoo.com. So you can reach out to Carol, recognize and be aware of the fact that she is a transcendental meditation master teacher for many, many years. She has definitely mastered wearing these patches and languaging, and she's got a fairly nice sized group of people that she's helped save their lives, quite literally. She's got a couple people in her group who were blind, who now one has blurry vision, the other one has a little bit better vision. So they went from completely seeing black to now being able to see. And so that's progress.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of exciting things happening with the people that you've been introduced to the patches. So I want to say thank you for that, because when we help others, we're helping ourselves when we help others. because you are me, I am you, we are one together. And so as I help you, I'm actually helping myself. We make the whole world a better place when we help.
It's wonderful to have a better place that we live in. And
And
you have been a big help for everyone. I always feel that if no matter who I'm speaking with, that I can share your number and how to get in touch with you because you take good care of everyone. And they love it. They just love you.
yeah, thank you. Thank you. This is my passion. So, all right, my friends and gems, tune in, tap in, turn on to the next episode of Love and Money Secrets TV. As you know, every day at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m., I have office hours. I do an info Q&A. And so you can learn about this life-saving technology. And as you know, I'm about all things organic, holistic, health and wellness. We have experts and we have people sharing their body and mind transformation here on this channel. You'll see this, readily. We have incredible people like Dr. Robert Lufkin, who wrote The Lies I Taught in Medical School, which we did
Yes.
that. That was amazing. And his book, I'm sure I can't wait to get my hands so I can read,
Yeah.
some specifics about what he discloses in that book. But that's basically it, my friends and gems. We will let you go. And in the comments below, if you want to tune into the Zoom link at 7 p.m., 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. Pacific time. There's always time and date converter in there. So wherever you are in the world, you will be able to convert it to your time zone and you can plug in. Then you can always reach out to me for a one-on-one. We just ask me for the Calendly link. Your link setter, and then we can set you up on that. All right, Carol, another great episode. Ciao for now, my beautiful friend and gem. Bye-bye.
Mm-hmm. Bye for everybody.